Okay, so this day started off with a questionable strong trend to the upside because you did have some major retracement divergence. You had some major divergence on your 610. This pulled back, I got in. I was feeling so confident about this that I got in again. I want to watch right here as we're pulling up to this last resistance area. We've got some pretty strong pushes happening up in the MACDs. This pulled back, gave me a long bar close at the top. So I really like the way this bar pulled down and the MACDs didn't do anything. So any of these, I kind of wish I'd gotten a little bit closer, but that's all right. I'm going to let this second one run a little bit further. Let's see where it has the potential to go. Let's start here. Boom. Boom. That's a small one. Let's set my second one right here. Got this tiny little bar trying to form on the 610, I'm sorry, on the 1597. So I want to be aware of that because it's really starting to pull away from everything. There's a lot of strength in these EMAs to the upside. There's a lot of strength in the MACDs to the upside. So I want to be just aware is the best word I want to use. 1, 2, 1, 2. So I'm actually going to move these together. There we go, we're good right there. Still a lot of strength up. Not a lot in the way to slow this down. That tiny little bar tells me I should probably be looking for an exit, guys, but I'm going to give it just a little more time because we got a lot of strength going up in these MACDs on the 1597 to the upside. Don't you love how it's hit it, it's hit it, it's hit it? These MACDs are starting to roll a little bit. That little tiny bar makes me nervous, but I think I'm going to give it just another few ticks. So what I'm going to do is take my first one out, let the next one roll. And it doesn't make me nervous. It just, I guess, makes me more conscious, more in tune with my feelings. I try and leave the feelings out of it, but guys, we're human. There's no possible way that we can absolutely leave the feelings out of it. What we have to do is bring the awareness into it. The awareness really, overrides the quote-unquote feeling of it. If this takes off 1, 2, I'm coming right back here. It's funny, and I'm going to tell you this, guys. I have this line here that I've drawn, and I look at this line and I go, "Ooh, it's hitting this line," and this line is holding. And yeah, that line held at one point in time. I don't even know where. Oh, right here to the upside. Maybe back here, but it's just a line that I've drawn. 2, and I'm going to be aware when I get to that next line. Not seeing these MACDs take off like I'd like on the 610. That little small bar. Yeah. We're going to leave that back where it was. We're just going to see if this pulls down much further. It's got a lot of strength down in those MACDs on the 610. If it pulls back into this area and starts to slow down, or the MACDs start to roll off, I'm going to go ahead and take the exit. Yeah, it's made a little peak, those tiny little bars. So I'm going 2 ticks behind this area, which really is probably 2 ticks behind this area that I should be, but I'm comfortable where I'm at. There's a lot of strength coming off of this area in the 610 MACDs. It's made this tiny little bar. It made a tiny little head and shoulders here. The MACDs are trying to make a sharp angle on the 610. Really, I was going to say my stop is not in a great place, because here is the next spot that it could pull back to. So now we have broken past this retracement divergence. Now we have our first actual divergence on the 1597. So you can see right here. Well, it's not an actual divergence. This really has to make a pivot first, but this is the actual potential for divergence. Let's see if I can catch one more before the end of the day, before my end of the day. I have a lot to, as always, have a lot to do today. And that's a pretty sharp angle in, I mean, there's still 1,200 ticks left. That's a pretty sharp angle to the downside so far, because you can see it was going up, 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 and then just turned really hard on a dime. We do have a strong, I wish that wouldn't do that. We do have this distance in the EMAs. Look at this distance in the EMAs. So from the smallest to the highest, there's a lot of room. Okay, if it's going to push, this is our first area, kind of our first area where it could push from. And that means it is 9 o'clock. A lot of strength down in the MACDs. So I'm just going to be patient for a minute. Especially now we've got some more of a confirmation of divergence, because now it's really pushing down instead of just being that first BB. Now, this is where we find out, do we have a strong trending market, or do we have a changing market? So to recognize if we have a strong trending market, what's going to happen, we've already pushed up higher, so we would want to see this push up even higher than it was before, maybe even come up to where my initial target was. You have to also think, do I want to wait for a pullback all the way back down to almost a break even just to see that push up? No, I want to wait for my next setup if it's going to continue up. I feel like I did rush myself a little bit with this entry. I really should have probably grabbed it back here a little bit more. But you did see the pullback. I'm like, all right, this is it. This is the spot to get in. This was not my best entry in the world. I'm pretty happy with this one. This one's all right. Just came back and hit my stop. All right. So here's our first, are we pushing up from here? This says not right now, but it might. 5 points for the day so far. I don't want to make this video too long, so I may pause it until I either get in my next trade or just sign off for the day. Let's check out news really quick. Uh, 9:30 is crude. So if this is a strong trending market, this is our first real opportunity. Kind of like the way that the MACDs are pulling back on the 1597, because they're not pulling back as hard as I would like to see it shifting the momentum to the downside. I'm not going to take this. A lot of you guys I know take the trades from the areas, which would mean that you would get in right back here. This reversal bar is pretty promising for it. That close at the bottom with a little bit of a tail, but there's just too much strength in the MACDs to the downside for me to feel comfortable getting in this trade. And we'll mark the exit. Yep. Okay, this is also something I really want to talk about because I know a lot of you trade from the areas. And what we have to do when we get to the areas is recognize the potential for them to hold or the potential for them to break. So we have a lot of strength up in the EMAs. There's a lot of distance. If this is a strong trending market, then the strength is not really, of the MACDs, is not really a factor because it'll hit those areas and roll off. But whenever you pull into, let's say, like a confluence area, a Fibonacci area, an area that you're looking for a bounce, either the EMAs or the lines that you've drawn on your chart. Whenever you come into those areas, looking at what is this telling me about this area? This has a lot of strength down. These bars have sat here and the MACDs are pushing to the downside. So I don't really just expect it to turn on a dime with the strength that we're seeing here. Now, you can see right here, it was very weak when it got to the area. It pulled back, gave the reversal bar, and then started to push back down. So the initial thought is, yeah, this area just might hold. But if you're looking at the things that I've been talking about with how the MACDs look in the area, with how the price bars are looking in the area, it can give you that indication whether it should really hold or whether it should break through into the next area. So all these bars with long tails and closes at the bottom, these are all people just really trying hard to push it up but not being able to really get that price, right? Here's a nice sharp turn off of there so far. So it was showing a strength to the downside. But let me come back to this. So these long bars and this weak push up, so it pushes up pretty hard. This is what the MACDs do. It pushes up pretty hard. This is what the MACDs do. It pushes up pretty hard. This is all the MACDs do. So it's not saying that that area is really doing its quote-unquote job and pushing you in the right direction just now at that point. So now it comes back down here. So look at where the tails are. Long tails closes at the top. Long tails closes at the top. And this is what our MACDs are doing at that point. They're dying out. So this is a good area to take the long. Right here it happens too. It pulls back. It does that close towards the bottom. Your MACDs have no reaction. So I wasn't prepared to take a trade just at this point. So once it pulled back, now I'm prepared to take the trade when it sets up. This first bar, I really kind of anticipated it to take off from here. Why? Because I drew a freaking line there. That's why. Oh yeah, this is looking like it might turn out kind of lovely. So if this is a strong trending market, anticipating the areas to break doesn't really hold as much weight. There has to be some other factors in that. Your MACDs are really going to have to slow down though on your 1597. Ooh, this roll down. Come on. Now watching that live BB. You know, there's my live BB. I want to wait till closer to the end of this countdown to really trust that live BB. There's a ton of strength up in these EMAs. According to the EMAs, you're going up. According to the MACDs, it's questionable. You got a ton of distance here, but you've got just this die out. You know, you'd had such a strong push, it just died out. Here's your long bars, closes at the top. Pulling right back into the area that held earlier. All right. This video is getting a little long, so we might pause it and just see what this does after. Yeah. Okay, I want y'all to notice something. Last time we were at this area, we've got the same kind of look. These long bars, and then it started doing reversal bars. If you're in this trade, you want to be out. Probably right around here, especially with the way the MACDs are reacting. Strength down. So here's the same kind of look we had here. It's just a little bit more consolidated. It was pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Reversal bars. Couldn't go. I'm not in this trade anymore. If it goes, cool. But if I was to take this trade, I probably would have taken a little bit of a loss on it. If it goes, it goes. Okay, I'm only going to let this video go about 5 more minutes. I don't like these videos lasting much longer than 20-25 minutes because I know it's not that interesting for you guys. All right, well, I've got 5 points for the day, so I'm done. You know, that's one of the wonderful things about doing this is that you can really just do this on your own time. There's opportunities everywhere. You just have to take the the ones that are really presenting themselves to you and have more of a potential to do their job or work out. I mean, it's going to be a silly reference, but it's kind of like dating or a job or something like that. You just don't take the first one that comes along and marry it, or you don't take the first job and expect to stay, on your paper route until your 40s. So you got to know when to let them go, and know when to got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. So if you had taken the long trade prior to this, probably should have been thinking about letting it go at this point. I mean, it just was, there were a lot of things against it. Yes, it was at the area. So this is, guys, this is a good lesson in being at the areas and learning when not to take the trade when you're at the areas. Guys, I worked with companies that use the Keltner channels and the mid bands and the outer bands, and if it touched that mid band, you were in a trade. But that's not the proper way to do it. It's kind of like saying, I don't believe in automated systems either, because you need that human element to really make these move, or to make the right choices. And whenever you're taking trades simply from the area, I would say that's, I hope nobody takes offense to this, but it's irresponsible, because at that point you're not paying attention to the other things that are going on. You're just on autopilot. And say you come up to a red light and you can take a right at that red light, but you just go without looking and you're going to get smashed. And so even when you go through a green light, you want to look and make sure that I live in Houston, yellow light means, hit the gas. Red light means 3 cars are going to go through the light before you can come from the opposite lanes. So think about those type of things when you're taking these trades. You don't want to get run over simply because you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention to, what's happening in the traffic. And so now we've got our first divergence on the 1597. It's pushed down super hard. This is actually a beautiful area. I would have never taken the short here just simply because of all the strength that we have to the upside in the EMAs, and just right back into areas. But there was the reversal bar, there was the weakness, there was the push down. So yeah, it wasn't a bad area to, there are people who are much more skilled than myself that would definitely have no problem taking this. I saw my exit back here. I didn't take it. I wanted to just kind of wait it out a little bit. But there was people, I'm sure, that were short from up here. Otherwise, the market would not have moved down. And there's people that were short here. Otherwise, the market would not have moved down. So that's all I got for you guys today. I have to run a friend to the airport and have quite a few things on my plate, just like every day. But I hope you guys have an excellent Wednesday, and I will catch y'all around.